The GPT store has now been launched, and all those GPTs people have been creating over the last few months are now available for everyone to discover. So is this going to be a complete game changer, or is it just going to be a bit of a flop? That is the million-dollar question. We're going to look at the 4 GPTs that were featured at the store's launch, see what they do and see what they bring to the party. We can also compare them to ChatGPT on its own and see if there's any benefits. Finally, we'll look at the idea of the store itself. Is it a revolution, or is it just a big pile of garbage? The featured GPTs are AllTrails, Consensus, CodeTutor and Books. So let's start with AllTrails. Let's ask it for some walks in one of my favourite places in the world, the Cotswolds in the UK. AllTrails is asking for permission to call out to an external service. We've got a confirmation prompt as a security measure, and that's going to stop any GPTs doing anything naughty behind our backs. The result we get is a nice response with photos of the location, key details about the route, and there's also links to more information. So this is really useful. Let's try the same question without the AllTrails GPT, just with a standard prompt. Here we get a good list of suggested walks, but it's nowhere near as detailed as the AllTrails answer. AllTrails GPT is definitely better, but you could also go to the AllTrails website and get pretty much the same results. Let's have a look at the Consensus GPT, a GPT for finding research papers. Well, let's ask it about papers for room temperature superconductors. They've been in the news lately. Let's see if we can find any papers on that. Again, Consensus called out to an external service, which we had to approve, and the results are a bunch of papers with citations, which I guess would be useful for a researcher in the field of superconductors. I'm a little bit nonplussed. Perhaps it wasn't the best of questions. Standard ChatGPT does a quick web search and gives me an overview of what's in the news, and then tells me to go look at some papers. A helpful answer for a non-scientist like me, but I'm perhaps not the intended audience of Consensus. Once again, you could just go to the Consensus website and do the same sort of search and get the same list of papers back. Let's have a look at CodeTutor GPT next. Let's get it to help us with a programming task. Okay, so now CodeTutor is guiding us through solving the problem, and it's doing it in a really clever way. This is really good. I notice it didn't call out to any external services, so it must be using a really great prompt, or maybe it's got a collection of internal documents to help it provide this service. Either way, the results are pretty good. If we try and get normal GPT to teach us how to code this, we get the solution, and we've not really learned anything. CodeTutor is definitely a better teacher than vanilla ChatGPT on its own. Finally, let's look at Books GPT, which apparently is your AI guide to the world of books and reading. Let's see if we can tease out what Books GPT is bringing to the table. It's a book expert who can recommend books, discuss genres, literary trivia and book pairings, which is suggesting what snacks go with a book. Okay, right, let's move on. 2 of my favourite books are Contact by Carl Sagan and The Quantum Thief by, that guy. Let's ask Books GPT what else it recommends.
Oh, I see you have a taste for thought-provoking science fiction. That blends complex scientific concepts with compelling narratives.
Well, that's a flattering description. I guess I do, yeah.
Here are a few recommendations that might capture your imagination in a similar way. Hyperion by Dan Simmons, Blind Sight by Peter Watts, Anathem by Neil Stephenson, The Three-Body Problem by Liu Cixin, Diaspora by Greg Egan.
Oh wow, now that is a really good list. I'm really quite impressed with that. The only disappointment is it didn't show me what snacks go with each book. Let's get plain old ChatGPT to recommend some books based on liking Carl Sagan's Contact and The Quantum Thief by, that guy.
It seems you appreciate science fiction with a blend of hard science, deep philosophical questions, and intriguing storytelling.
Oh, well, that's very flattering. I guess I do, yes. Wait a minute, is this a glitch in the Matrix?
Hyperion by Dan Simmons, Foundation series by Isaac Asimov, Diaspora by Greg Egan, Anathem by Neil Stephenson, and the Three Body Problem trilogy by Liu Cixin.
Well, that was a really good list of books as well. Looks like Books GPT isn't so special. If only it had thrown in those snap recommendations. So is the GPT store just pointless, or does it actually add some value? Well, in fact, I think it's fantastic. That's because it's a showcase of ideas, things you can use ChatGPT for. Even something like Books GPT, which doesn't seem to bring anything to the party itself, highlights what a fantastic use case using ChatGPT to recommend books is. Over time, the community are going to help popularise the best ideas hiding in the dark corners, and even better ones will float to the surface. Personally, I was enlightened by my chat with the actual Buddha GPT, and Deep Game could turn out to be very addictive. If you've got a great idea for a GPT, then it's worth creating it and getting it in the store. After all, the barrier to entry is really low. And if it gets discovered and takes off, OpenAI are promising to share the proceeds in the near future. If you want to take that next step and create your own GPTs, I'll be making a video on how to do it step by step. So watch this space.